This is one of the craziest things that no one expected would happen. We have animal versus wild animal. RGV, Ram Gopal Varma, talking to SRV, Sandeep Reddy Vanga. Who would have thought that this would happen? And they've even titled it Animal versus Wild Animal, a legendary conversation between both of them. And the thumbnail is quite epic, a lion and a dinosaur. Like, I don't know what to say, but we'll check it out. If you haven't seen the original one, I'll put the link to description below. It's available on RGV's official channel. This is a reaction, not a substitute to it. I'll be pausing in the middle talking, and I'm hoping it's in English throughout, or at least most part of it. And if there's subtitles, I don't think so. There are subtitles. By the way, the channel membership is live. If you like the content, if you'd like to support the channel, consider become a member. Enjoy such reactions early and some member only videos, the song reactions. To know more, click on the join button and let's check it out. Oh my god.
Start with, I want to tell a small
Cinematica Expo.
anecdote.
Okay.
So Sandeep, when
My god, look
I
at the
didn't see
crowd.
Animal at that time before the release,
It's in English.
and Rajmouli called me and said, in recently at a function, I said Sandeep is a new age Ram Gopal Varma.
Okay.
You know,
You could like I understand where he's coming from. He's quite bold. Wants will make what he wants to make. Will not, bow down to any rules and the way things are done in cinema and the people and how it's functioning. He'll do what he wants. He'll make a 3 hour, 20 minute, 21 minute long film which is not following any stereotypes. So yeah, he's quite bold in that sense and holds his ground. Doesn't change.
and I said that. But now I just now saw the film,
Okay.
and now I think he's Ram Gopal Varma ka baap.
Okay.
So the point is, I don't know. From after I saw the film, what I felt was, see, I think Shiva was still a kind of a little realistic film,
I've still not seen it. I have to accept that fact. I have not seen it yet.
but it pretty much followed a conventional format of a hero villain. Whatever, maybe done little differently in terms of the taking and etc. But I think your films, especially Animal, it just completely broke the convention and completely threw all the so-called rules
That's true.
into the dustbin. You know.
That's true.
So because
Strong words. Use of strong words. I like that.
of that, I truly believe what Rajmouli said is right. You are my bap. Yeah.
I would guess that's a very high praise if you really like him, his films, and you've grown up watching him and his bravery in a sense at a time when everyone was just doing some random things.
Sir, good morning, everybody. Sir, actually, నేను ఈవెంట్కి వచ్చింది సార్ కోసం అండ్
Come on.
దెర్ ఇస్ ఎ సెషన్ ఐ థాట్ లైక్
Thank
it
you.
will be nice sitting and talking to him. This is actually a dream when I think back to Sarkar and company and Satya days. This is literally a dream sitting with him, and sometimes I meet him at his place. I think, sir, anything you say, I take it like an award, like a pride. Whatever you say, sir.
Yes. First of all, I don't think the word award and you go together in the context because
Okay.
your self-confidence and what you think. I still remember when you told about that critic in Bombay, that fat guy. I can't get over that. I think his entire 20-year career or 30 years, you destroyed in one line. you know.
Okay. Now we are doing some ego boosting here. There was something said, the other thing replied, and let's move on from that fact. There's no, you know, nothing of pride that happened that day by any person. So let's not demean, anyone.
Anyway, coming to because the point of this whole event is to talk about cinema. Some film institute students came to meet me some time back. They're writers. They're doing a course in writing, and I asked them, So they were talking about the art of screenplay and how you write and how the progression should be made, and what is has to be followed like a rule and this and that, you know. So William Wyler, a very famous writer, was written Ben-Hur and all that. His thoughts are taken almost like a rule in cinema. Even now, even today, keep young filmmakers quoting him. His understanding of screen.
A lot of big brands behind this event where it's happening. I've not even heard about it. That's very fascinating. I don't know. I'm guessing it's happening in Hyderabad or like somewhere. But yeah, I've never heard about this event.
Play. He said, whatever you show in the first part of the film, there has to be a counter in the second part. You know, that is what which brings in totality.
Okay.
And second thing he said, no matter how good a scene it is, if it is not progressing the story, you should throw it out. And what you did, you threw both these into the into the dustbin. So I said, now apply your logic to Sandeep Vanga's screenplay. I said, whatever you learned in the last 2 years in your course, you know. Having
Interesting.
said that, why
That's interesting. That's even how we had a screenwriting course, and that's how we did. Like, we used to watch a movie and then try to break it. Like, do the opposite. Watch the movie and then break down the screenplay. Like, what did they do? And once I remember, our sir showed us Mulholland Drive, and it's the most brain destroying, mind numbing kind of film, because we were literally making notes about the screenplay, what's happening, and the last 10 minutes just throws you off, and we all were like screaming and shouting, "Oh, what the hell just happened?" That it made no sense to us, and we questioning existence. And yeah, so a lot happened that scarred us. And then he showed some other film, and that made no sense. But yeah, he was just teaching us different screenplay ideas.
I just would like to explain. Maybe at some point of time, to a degree, there was a certain classical style or a tradition. I think now cinema is about expressing an individual's expression. Like Sandeep
Okay.
Vanga will express it in a certain way, which is projecting, and then it catches whatever people. Some critics might hate it, some critics might, the audience might love it. Then it's a question of the numbers of whatever. So my question is, when you thought in your head, I'm sure you would have told the story to maybe some people, some close people. Did it ever occur to you that this can go really wrong? Especially Animal, again, because that's the latest picture.
Sir, I narrated this to Ranbir and my brother. They loved it, sir. They said it's new and it might go wrong. Ante there are few questions where they felt inta prema in the father mida. That might go wrong. If that goes
Okay.
wrong, everything goes wrong.
The cover emotion.
Second half lo screenplay deepavadam pakka pedte, if the sole point of the film is the love story between father and son, if that goes wrong, I said that everything will go wrong. ఇంకా సెకండ్ హాఫ్లో స్లో ఉండడం డీప్ అవడం లాజిక్ అదంతా సార్ యాక్చువల్లీ మీరు చెప్తుంటే అది అనిపిస్తుంది సార్ యాక్చువల్లీ యాక్చువల్లీ
Subs.
ఇప్పుడు మనందరం కూడా ఒక హ్యాబిట్ ఏముంటుందంటే, మనం ఒకటి ఎన్నప్పుడు దాని తర్వాత కొంత టైం అయిన తర్వాత
I'll try to understand.
into our head, maybe that is not exactly what happened, but our imagination starts playing games and
Okay.
we probably say something. So నాకు సందీప్కి జరిగిన ఒక కాన్వర్జేషన్, ఇప్పుడు నేను చెప్పినప్పుడు ఇట్ ఈస్ పాసిబుల్ ఇట్ డిడ్ నాట్ హ్యాపెన్, బట్ ఐ ఫీల్ దిస్ ఈస్ హౌ ఐ అండర్స్టూడ్ ఇన్ ద పాయింట్. అంటే నేను తర్వాత చాలామందికి చెప్పినప్పుడు సందీప్ యానిమల్ గురించి ఏమన్నాడో నేను కూడా కొన్ని దాంట్లో యాడ్ చేసి ఉండొచ్చు, విచ్ క్యాన్ బి రాంగ్ ఆల్సో. సో యూ హ్యావ్ టు ఫర్గివ్ మీ అబౌట్ మై వర్షన్ ఆఫ్ వాట్ వీ టాక్డ్.
లైక్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్
No, yeah. So I asked Sandeep, యానిమల్లో బాబీ డియోల్ is the main villain. ఇప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ హాఫ్కి ఆల్రెడీ the story is over because whoever attacked the father, he took revenge on them.
Yeah.
And the second half starts off on something else, for a long time before Bobby Deol comes. So I asked Sandeep, why can't you introduce Bobby Deol in the first half itself somewhere so that I will know that
Something is
his
coming up.
character still has to be finished, so I will feel a continuation. So Sandeep said, బాబీ డీల్ ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ చేస్తే సెకండ్ హాఫ్లో స్టార్ట్ అయిన తర్వాత ఒక 1 hour వేరే ఆ ట్రాక్స్ అన్ని అయితే ఉన్నాయో అది దట్ మైట్ నాట్ వర్క్, అందుకని నేను బికాస్ దే బి వెయిటింగ్ ఫర్ బాబీ డీల్, అందుకని నేను చూపించలేదు అన్నారు. మరి అప్పుడు ఆ గంట
Okay, I understood that he thought they would be waiting for Bobby Deol and second half I would have started, but yeah, let's see.
ఎందుకు అసలు అసలు ఉంటాం ఎందుకు అన్నారు. అంటే నేను సీన్స్ నమ్ముతానండి, సీన్స్కి అడ్డంగా కథ వస్తే కథను తీసేస్తాను కానీ సీన్స్ని తీనన్నాడు. Sir, I have
No
no
idea.
clue whether you said it or not, but I am telling everybody, including now. So for me, I always believed it is the scenes which work, not so much the story. You know?
Okay.
సో ఇంకో క్వశ్చన్ ఏం అడిగానంటే, ఆ ఫైట్లో సడన్గా ఈ పంజాబీ సింగర్ వచ్చి డాన్స్ చేస్తారు, అదేంటి, హౌ డస్ దట్ వర్క్ అంటే, ఫిల్మ్ విల్ వర్క్ ఎనీవే అంటే ఎలా తీసినా చూస్తారు, అంటే ఎలా తీసినా చూస్తారు అంటే సందీప్ అది మిస్ఇంటర్ప్రిట్ చేసుకుంటే ఇప్పటికే మనకి 90% ఫ్లాప్స్ వస్తాయి, 110% వస్తాయి మీరు సీరియస్గా తీసుకుంటే. యా, సో బట్ దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ ఐఎమ్ సేయింగ్. సి ఫర్ మీ and again coming to the aspect of one is a screenplay about, how much do you think, see when I had one criticism for a long time,
Okay.
that the importance
This is interesting. Please say it in English.
I give to the so-called taking shot division or how I move the camera or frame is of much more importance compared to what's happening in the script, in the story, in the performances and the content of the scene. So how much do you think taking matters?
Sir,
Interesting.
when it comes to your films, whatever framing and the movement and everything, that itself is a story for me. That itself
Okay.
is an emotion for me. అంటే జనాలు ఫిల్మ్స్ చూసి ఇందులో స్టోరీ ఎక్కడ ఉంది అంటారు. నాకు అర్థం కదా, క్వశ్చన్ ఎప్పటికీ అర్థం కాదు. బికాస్ వెన్ ఐ కమ్ టు యువర్ మీ ఫిల్మ్స్ చూసి, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ బూత్, ఎస్పెషల్లీ దట్ డూప్లే హౌస్లో యూ ఆల్సో ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ if there is no shot, if there is no thought behind the shot, then there's nothing behind it. So I think that criticism is not valid, sir, because me shots say everything, sir. I mean, I think
So
everybody will accept.
So they're talking about how the making of the film. I think that that's also storytelling, right? It's not just about what you have written and what dialogues characters will say. It's also about how you are shooting it. You know, when you use a reflection of a character, what does that adds to the story? You know, having a single take, you know, having just close-ups every time, that's also adding something. If you just take mid shots throughout the movie, like for no reason, there's, you know, you just capture, that's the immature filmmaking, right? You just, oh, you have to two characters, so I'll just take it from behind so both come in a frame. That's not thinking. You're not adding anything more to the layers of the story. Like, they're talking, but how can you show the talking? Maybe you don't show them talking, you just show their hands moving, you just show their legs, both of them doing something. I saw, I think it was the Social Network, there was a breakdown of a scene where a boy and a girl meet, Mark Zuckerberg's character, a girl meets, and we see their, you know, legs, how they're coming closer and then they go back, and that tells you what are they feeling for each other. They are talking, they're constantly talking, but they're cutting to their, you know, shoes, and how far they're sitting, how closer they are getting, you know. So all this adds to what the characters are doing and talking, and that's also part of storytelling, especially with cinema. That's why you have visuals, right? Use that.
One more thing I want to tell you all, that you know, people say that you did a daring move, that inta dhairyanga ela rasavu, animal. People say all that. I don't never took it seriously, but నేను చాలా మందికి చెప్పాను. ఐఎమ్ టెలింగ్ దిస్ ఇన్ ఫ్రంట్ ఆఫ్ యూ సార్ టుడే. ద మోస్ట్ డేరింగ్ స్టెప్ ఎవరైనా తీసుకున్నారు ఫిలిం ఇండస్ట్రీలో అంటే అది ఆర్జీవీ సార్. ఐ గివ్ యూ అన్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్.
Okay, I understood that.
I'll give you an example. Example is after a stupendous success of Rangila, after Rangila, no filmmaker would dare to make a film in 2 crores with a new faces. That's for sure. Satya, that's what. After Rangila, sir, Satya Disar Gada, I think that is the most daring step any filmmaker could take. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇప్పుడు నేను యానిమల్ తర్వాత ఇఫ్ ఐ గో అండ్ డూ ఎ ఫిల్మ్ విత్ న్యూ ఫేసెస్ నో బడీ నోస్ దాట్ విల్ బి ద డేరింగ్ స్టెప్ సార్ ఐ థింక్. సో యానిమల్ రాయడము అర్జున్ రాయడము డేరింగ్ స్టెప్ కాదు. నేను సార్
I like the self-awareness, and he's right. He's such a big name now that he'll not go and make a small film with two newcomers, right? His next is Spirited Prabhas, the biggest star of India right now. Then after that, I think Animal Park, if I'm not wrong. So he's just doing bigger and bigger things. And daring is that you know what? I'm not gonna make a pan India film. I'm just gonna go back make a small film.
పొగడట్లేదు. ఇది ఐ జెన్యున్లీ ఫీల్ దిస్ నేను చాలా మంది చెప్పేది మీకు కూడా తెలియాలని చెప్తున్నా. యా దట్ ఈస్ ఆర్జీవి. ఎస్ మీకు నచ్చదు కానీ ఫ్యాక్ట్ సార్.
But I still didn't get one specific answer from you because see,
Okay.
I'll give you one more example.
A lot of
After Bahubali came, sir, from that time onwards, all these so-called epic VFX films and everything, and everybody thought without production values and huge grand scale of special effects, people are not going to come to the theater. And you started, of course, Animal much after Bahubali, much after, and you had a huge budget with you, and you had, of course, the biggest stars and all that. In spite of that, you only banked on the emotion and the performances. Like cameraman William Fraker said, there's no greater visual than an artist performing in a tight close-up. And that is what I thought Animal was. For me,
I kind of agree because I think doing close-ups, right? That close-up as in not just this much. Close-up as in going so back and then you can see the muscles move and you can see it's very intimate to the character, right? And when you can do that and that's fun too, it's not boring. Like why I'm watching a close-up, why I'm watching the pimples of the actor. It's not about that. It's about something's going on. And when you can get that is more epic feeling than some big visual or something like that. When you go so close, you feel that emotions. I think that gives you bigger high, a bigger feel inside than just a big visual can.
the only thing I remember is Ranveer's close-ups. In terms of, they can't go out of my head. Whereas the most incredible VFX shot, spectacular probably in its, that remain in my head. And what remains is Ranveer's close-ups. So that I think is a very conscious, because you are such an intense person yourself. And you what emotion you feel is what you want to see as tight as possible. So there's no escaping. Is that what you realized when the films you grew up on in your teens, or whenever you're conscious about film craft?
Sir, the importance of close-ups, frankly, I got it through a lot of Hollywood films, me films kuda, Mani sir films kuda, and I think that's a deliberate attempt, sir, because Naku personally, cut to a wide shot is always boring for me.
Okay.
So if you see Animalo, there are two wide shots. Entire film is in mids and closes. Adi deliberately chasing sir. And inkoti, it is so much character driven. I didn't want any loose ends in between. So I thought like keeping it tight will always engross the audience. It will be with them throughout the narration. That's a deliberate step, sir. Yeah. And getting Ranveer on the frame is like delight.
And not holding back on to make the point of the kind of the violence, the hacking of the thing or whatever. I find there more violence than two armies fighting. Because probably one is because I invested my emotion in the character and I connect to the emotion of the character. Like whereas in a wide thing, when armies are fighting, it might just give a certain visual thing for some time, but it does stay. Like when I remember when I first narrated the story to Nagarjuna, he was shooting for this film called Agniputradu, and I told him that scene when Naresh is coming from the theater, in the darkness when he's hit from behind with a hockey stick. I said I'll create more violence in that scene than entire horses running and this and that bombs exploding.
Okay.
Because it is the cold blood wholeheartedness of the hit. It is not so much
I'm guessing he's talking about Shiva.
about action. The fact that guy is smoking a cigarette very casually, yeah.
The impact is still same, sir.
Yeah. So the same thing when Ranbir comes in a different look, that low angle shot, first time with a different look, I can't just get over that shot. It haunts me from the time I saw Animal, you know. So I think
Which shot? Low angle? Is it that when he comes out of the car, when he's different look first time we see?
to be able to get something like that is, I feel, unless you on an individual level feel the intensity of it, you can't. But strangely, I feel when I see your interviews and all that, I never felt you look very composed. Even when you call somebody a fat guy or somebody something, you say it very matter of factly. I never saw any anger in you. Maybe you reserve that for your characters, I don't know. So are you
Okay.
acting that you don't have anger? Or are you different from the characters you create?
సార్ అది మామూలుగా అనేసిన సార్ అది యా ఇట్ వాజ్ ఐ డెంట్ ప్లాన్ ఫర్ ఇట్ యాక్చువల్లీ అది అట్లా అయిపోయింది సార్ అది బట్ ఐ షుడ్ హ్యావ్ సెడ్ దట్ అనిపిస్తుంది అప్పుడు.
But I guess also because you already showed with the extraordinary success of your films, that anger is already taken out there only. Because when they see the figures, I'm sure they would have cried in their pillows. All your critics, you know. So there's no need to again
Like, why are we critics bashing here?
express anger. The Chachin Pawan jumpinadu, you know, Chachin Pawan jumpinadu, Malli. So in the what are your earliest influences in directors? When you first ever saw you, like for example, I was most influenced by Steven Spielberg. I first time realized how the camera can be used as a narrative, just the editing, which are actually not real things. It's not music, it's not dialogue, it's not performance. Now, camera and editing are basically crafts of you're using it to manipulate the audience's emotion. The highest art of that I found in Spielberg. Maybe it was started by Alfred Hitchcock, but I think it was perfected in Spielberg's films. So, what was your, in your memory, the best influence of a director, or whether you heard the word director for the first time?
ఫస్ట్
That'd be difficult to remember.
అబౌట్ ద డైరెక్టర్స్ అంటే ఇది ఈ డైరెక్టర్ ఫిల్మ్ అని చెప్పి మా కజిన్స్ కానీ నేబర్స్ కానీ ఫిలింకి వెళ్ళడం స్టార్ట్ పెట్టింది మీ పేరు మణి సార్ పేరు సార్.
Don't make me feel so old, man.
సార్ సీరియస్లీ ఎందుకంటే శివ వచ్చినప్పుడు నేను శివ
I think he said that all relatives, family, they used to watch just two directors' film, Mani sir and RGV.
వరంగల్ జెమినీ థియేటర్ అని ఉంది అక్కడ చూసా. దాని తర్వాత నేను ఫోర్త్ స్టాండర్డ్ సార్ శివ వచ్చినప్పుడు. దెన్ బై ద టైమ్ గాయం కేమ్ దిస్ సెడ్ ఇది రామ్ గోపాల్ వర్మ సినిమా. ఇట్ స్టార్టెడ్ గాయం దొంగ బికాస్ వెన్ ఐ హర్డ్ అబౌట్ గాయం దెన్ దొంగ ఐ స్టిల్ రిమెంబర్ మై కజిన్స్ టెలింగ్ మీ ఇది మణిరత్నం ఫిలిం, ఇది రామ్ గోపాల్ వర్మ ఫిలిం, లెట్స్ గో అని. హీరో పేరు లేదు ఇప్పుడు అక్కడ. సో జెన్యున్లీ దట్స్ హౌ ఇట్ స్టార్టెడ్. ఆఫ్టర్ దట్ ఫిల్మ్ స్కూల్కి వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత వేరియస్ ఫారెన్ ఫిల్మ్ మేకర్స్ ఇన్ఫ్లుయెన్స్ ఉండింది సార్. బికాజ్ నేను పుట్టి పెరిగింది వరంగల్లో కాబట్టి హార్డ్లీ ఎనీ హాలీవుడ్ ఫిల్మ్స్, ఇట్స్ ఐదర్ తెలుగు ఫిల్మ్స్ ఆర్ హిందీ ఫిల్మ్స్. హాలీవుడ్ ఫిల్మ్స్ లేదు సార్.
Tell me a few films of Hollywood, like from early times. What do you think of Godfather?
Yeah, definitely, sir.
Yeah.
The Godfather, Goodfellas,
Okay.
And Shawshank Redemption, and one of all the top form films. Yeah, and
But
specifically
you don't have any specific director, specific kind of filmmaking.
specific, I would say Goodfellas. Yeah, Goodfellas and
Goodfellas, by the way, I first time saw it in a theater because it was playing at a film festival. And okay, that was a great experience to have, like first time watching it on the big screen.
there's one film called One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest. That's a fantastic film. That film had.
I've
a
heard
lot
about
of,
this.
I don't know what I learned, but there's a lot of impact in films.
Yeah. My belief is like in any film which has like outstanding performances is the only thing which people will remember. If you look at Godfather or Goodfellas or even Cuckoo's Nest,
Yeah.
it's because of the performances. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, sir. And most of your films also, sir. Most of your films. I mean, as I said in the recent thing that నేను ఎడిటింగ్ మీ ఫిల్మ్స్ చూసి నేర్చుకున్నా సార్ యాక్చువల్లీ నేను అంటే సత్య ఫిలిం నాకు తెలిసి సార్ కూడా గుర్తుండదు కావచ్చు నాకు అంత గుర్తుంది మొత్తం షార్ట్ టు షార్ట్ లిటరలీ సత్య చూసేటప్పుడు పాజ్ చేసి కెమెరా ఇక్కడ ఉంటుందా అక్కడ ఉంటుందా అట్లా చూసిన రోజులు ఉన్నాయి సత్య మ్యూట్లో చూసాను నేను ఒకసారి యా సత్య ఈవెన్
A lot of unnecessary screaming. There's nothing to scream here.
కంపెనీ ఆల్సో సార్
I will ask you one question.
Yeah.
I want you to answer immediately without pausing or thinking.
Yeah. On Satya?
No, not about Satya. Something else, you know. So I'm again saying you should answer it immediately without a pause, without a
Okay.
Can you make a film like Bahubali? No.
I'll try, sir, maybe sometime in future.
That is not a correct answer. You should either say yes or no.
I'll try, sir.
Sandeep, that is not good.
No.
You can't be diplomatic.
Answer is no.
Okay.
I thought immediate answer.
Okay. Now he said no. But then my next question is, can you make a better film than Bahubali?
I'll try. I'll try, sir.
No, I will try. It's done. Answer is come. Okay.
I don't know what he was trying there, but okay.
Yeah, superb. Okay.
It's a very
Sir, I have one question.
I have to say it feels very surreal. This interview is like it feels like a dream. Am I really recording? Is it a dream? Like, is it really I'm watching them discuss and some random things are happening?
Sir, ఇది చాలా మందికి ఉన్న క్వశ్చన్ Sir, I know that you are in a different trip now. As I little know about you more. No, not like that. In a good way. Sir,
Even I didn't think that until you said it.
ఒక్కసారి 3 నెలలు 4 నెలలు కాన్సన్ట్రేట్ చేసి ఒక్కసారి మళ్ళీ ఒక ఊపండి సార్ ఒక్క సినిమా
I'm guessing he said just one film which the old RGV. Can we get him back?
వన్ ఫిలిం మీరు అనుకుంటే అవుతుంది
నేను ఆ పనిలోనే ఉన్నాను అని మీ మీద ఒట్టేసి చెప్తున్నా
I didn't understand what he said.
వన్ సెకండ్ నాకు వినపడలేదు
నేను ఆ పనిలోనే ఉన్నాను అని మీ మీద ఒట్టేసి చెప్తున్నా
ప్లీజ్ సార్ ఎందుకంటే సార్ మోర్ దెన్ ఎనీథింగ్ ఐ వాంట్ ఆల్ ద క్రిటిక్స్ టు షట్ అప్ వన్ film saying I don't want even them to write RGV's back. I want them to write RGV's RGV. ఒక్క ఫిల్మ్ తీయండి సార్
yes
Will we that's a big question.
Okay. Yeah. So I personally, I would never be able to make a film like Bahubali because neither do have the patience. It needs a lot of patience to spend that kind of time and all various things, and I'm more into characters and psychology. So, but I feel if you make a film in that context, I think the kind of character treatment and in terms of the uniqueness of how you design them, I feel it will be something else. That's my opinion. Whether, see, on a sensibility, you might not be interested, or you might want to other films which interest you more. That is fine, fair enough, you know. But you doing that kind of a film will bring in a tremendous difference to that genre, is what I feel. And then salaha ivatledu, I'm just observing a point, you know. And in terms of when I always wondered whether if Arjun Reddy and Shiva come on the same day, what do you think will work better? If Shiva and Arjun Reddy release on the same day, what do you think will work better?
Shiva.
Yeah, no.
Seriously, sir. Sir,
Yeah. See,
Did that one guy sleep?
whether he wants to be diplomatic or trying to be
no, sir. Till date, I'm a fan of Shiva. When people say that, Shiva tarat ide film ante nenu kuda anukunta anta ledu ani anukunta genuinely. So Shiva no Arjun rendu okaru vaste I feel Shiva will work.
I don't believe that because I'll tell you, my opinion. See, Shiva was a very topical film in terms of the college violence and
Okay.
at that time the campus politics and all that. But Arjun Reddy, I think the character is more believable. Maybe it doesn't have the same heroism of Shiva, but I think the relatability of Arjun Reddy's character, I think, is far superior. And I didn't see anything cinematic in Arjun Reddy, which Shiva is full of cinematic treatment, I think. Yeah. So, for example, the whole build-ups of the chain breaking and all that, I find it like if I look back on it today, I feel it's very silly, But I didn't
Okay.
feel that at all in Arjun Reddy. Yeah. Because you created a character and the whole film was going around that in terms of its treatment. So he fascinates me, the character. I'm not sure that there is the same emotion when you look at Shiva.
Sir, I might not explain the way you are explaining, but I still feel chain snatching is the best commercial entry for a fight. Yeah.
Maybe because I find that silly. Maybe that is one reason why I'm not able to make a good film now. Because I also forgot what the chain scene is. Yeah.
Sir, that is 30 years back, sir. 30 years, sir.
What?
Shiva is 30 years back, sir. Generally, this ido crowd కోసం కదా నా కోసం అడుగుతున్నా సార్ నేనే కాదు నాట్ గన్స్ అండ్ థైస్ సార్ రంగీలా
The crowd is just. What is this? What is going on?
తర్వాత genuinely like what was your mindset to write and make Satya?
Even Rangila, I have not. Even Satya, even Shiva, I have not seen. I know the comments are coming for me.
Because big of పెద్ద stars approach అయి ఉంటారు with
See,
budgets and all that.
what I felt, Sandeep, in fact, the background of Bombay, because I shot Rangila in Bombay, I used to be fascinated watching the locations, the Dharavi slums and things like that. And there was a huge underworld activity at that time. So I used to be reading in the papers and seeing pictures and probably meeting some people who were related to the gang world. So that kind of started growing at the time of Rangila. When I was shooting Rangila, the first seed of Satya came at that time. So I was eager to make that film because it reminded me of my understanding of Godfather. It reminded me of my very early days, Shiva and all that. So I never thought of it as I should make a bigger film than Rangila. Like, let me make a film with bigger stars and all that. Okay, like eventually, like you very well know, director is at heart a storyteller, So when you did Arjun Reddy, you believe his performance as a character, So Vijay Deverakonda became whatever he is post that film, So for me, the very
That is true in a sense that he isn't able to deliver that kind of a hit, I guess, since then. And I think he has become stereotype. Everyone wants to give him that angry beard look and shouting and screaming and love, I'll do anything. I think he needs to change. I think his comedy films have worked much better.
idea of underworld was a start. Just to make a realistic film on the underworld, for me, I thought of it as a star. So I never thought about whether it's a big film or I'm making it how much budget and all that. It never entered my head. I was just excited to make the film. Yeah.
So in comparison with what Rangila made in terms of box office, you never worried about how the box office numbers would be and how you would be judged as a filmmaker in new city again in Bombay. That was never your thought. You never.
No. In fact, I didn't even know know whether it will work. I never thought of the commercial prospect. I was very, very excited to put it on screen. I mean, in the making of Satya, a lot of people told me people won't see such sweaty looking faces and there is no glamour and X and Y. That was what everybody was talking, but I was very captivated by the idea of the subject matter, the way I understood that at that time when I was making Rangila, when with the meeting people, like I said, you know. So I remember by the time I made Rangila, already I was in the industry for the last 10 years nearly. I had this one line which I wrote in the end of the film. My tears for Satya are as much as for those who he killed.
Yeah,
So that is something I very strongly felt in my heart. So it was almost like me trying to tell this to somebody, in this case which happens to be the audience by using the medium of cinema. So my desire to tell what I felt about it was the most overwhelming emotion in me. I never ever thought about it as commercial aspect. Yeah.
I think that's why you could come out with always new genres. I think nobody has tried the way you tried, I think. You tried almost all genres, I think.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, sir, yeah. And sir, coming back to films like Satya and company, they have multiple star cast. Sir, I just want to know, curious, when you are making company, you gave a combined narration to everybody in a room, or like you told them this is what it will be, and you excited everybody and got them onto the board, or you generally called everybody and narrated story?
No, I never did that. I never did it to any film, you know.
You just
Oh.
I
briefed them
think,
personally.
yeah, in person. Like company, for example, obviously because Satya was such a big hit and coming to the same genre, people were not even interested in knowing what I want to make. They just want to do it. Satya,
That happens
many times
when you get a lot of success. No questions asked. Now just take us. Take producers like take us money. Just do. We believe in you.
I mentioned, but even till today, nobody believes it fully. See, Satya, we never had a script. I just went by gut instinct, but I had clarity about the characters. I knew every character beforehand. So I thought we'll go, and the story happens because of a decision made by a character. So as long as I have a grip on the character, whatever I felt at any given point of time, I did it, and it made itself, the film.
So I think pretty much you applied that for company also, I think. For company also you applied that, I think, right? The decision made by every character is progressing the story.
Yeah.
I think that applies to company also.
Yes. Yeah.
I've not even seen Company. Which RGV film I have seen? I have no idea.
The difference is between Satya and Company, I would say, is the difference between Godfather and Goodfellas. Satya being Goodfellas. Because I have least craft I used in Satya, because I just let the actors do the role job, and I kept the.
So I think the difference between Godfather and Godfather is about the established, gangs and how things work, and how one family and how the cycle of violence leads from one generation to the other. Like that's what it's trying to show. uh, Whereas Goodfellas is about kind of a satirical commentary on this, gang wars and gangsters, and how this one guy wants to be gangster looking at other people, and that's what gangster is. And he goes through different things over time, understanding what it means to be a gangster, and then at the end, like he runs away from it in a sense. So he goes through that whole cycle again, but it's more in a satirical, comical way, where you just see this guy just go through all of this, and just it's kind of a commentary more than about a very serious uh family thing that leads to other things, and revenge and drama and power. It's not about that.
Camera at eye level most of the time. Company is very strong compositions, and that style is different, which probably I use more of that in Sarkar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, one more thing I always wanted to ask you. నాకు సడన్గా గుర్తొచ్చింది ఇప్పుడు మీతో మాట్లాడుతుంటే. ఇప్పుడు when you write horror films, sir, how do you narrate the horror film? Because most of it is with the effects and the movement. For example, Ratri, the first shot, what we see, that's how you narrate, or like.
See, I wanted to start my career with a horror film.
It's interesting, how he asks him, like, how do you narrate films? That's not an interview would ask. It's just a director who does these things himself. That's something you would ask for as a director.
Actually, I was very keen about Ratri. Now, Raat film, I actually used to narrate the opening scene. Every time I used to say the camera slowly, the bus comes and stops and she gets down. The whole thing was narrated through camera movements. That is what I always do. In fact, even now, you know. So I think with the expression I have in the way I'm able to almost make the other person see the way it's happening.
So hardly there is anything on the paper for Raj.
No, nothing. So when someone told me, when I said that Raat is one of my best films, directorially speaking, and someone told me that you forgot the story in the point of the camera. I said, on the other hand, with that much of story to make it like that is a much bigger, achievement for me. I said, and definitely I love making horror films because I love to scare people. So that is my prime.
You love to what?
I love to scare people.
Even with his latest work.
When will you make a horror film?
Sir, I never thought about it, sir, but I want to. నాకు చేయాలనుంది actually. But
Okay.
I never thought about it. So
I think we'll make a fantastic horror film because it is just a shift from violence to horror is very, very thin. And I think Animal also has horror.
Interesting. Human horror.
Especially for Rajiv Masan. And the critics. Yeah. So what are the other genres you would like to dwell into it sometime?
sir, I definitely want to do horror, sir. I don't know whether I'll do comedy, but horror though I don't want to do it. But I never tried, I never attempted one scene also. But
Yeah.
I'll try, sir. Yeah.
And I observed something in your films. You were, probably I have that to an extent. You don't like to have big crowd scenes and too many junior artists of the whole thing. I find you a little uncomfortable in that. Like, even if I
nice.
look at the Anil Kapoor's attack scene, which, it's like you want to get it over with. Because this has to be there. I can see an impatience.
100%. What is it?
It is never elaborate. It is not in detail. Yeah.
Majorly, I don't see a reason. If it is there, also it's very tough to control the junior crowd, sir. Actually,
Yeah.
it's a
And
very
also because
tedious
you're
job.
so precise about the expressions, a junior artist will never give the expression in his body language and all that. He can screw up the entire frame.
It is very even the classroom crowd. నేను ఫోటోలు చూసి ఆడిషన్ చేశాను సార్
Yeah.
బికాస్ రెగ్యులర్ క్రౌడ్ విల్ నాట్ లుక్ లైక్ ఎ క్లాస్ రూమ్ క్రౌడ్ క్లాస్ రూమ్ క్రౌడ్ జనరల్ పబ్లిక్ని పెట్టినప్పుడు బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్లో దట్స్ రియల్ టఫ్ టాస్క్.
I think sometimes what happens, like if you see background actors we have seen many, many times, right? That kind of breaks the immersion. Oh, I've seen him there and he's different character here. And, like that gives, it should not have context for crowd. I think something in Rajamouli's films, right? Like crowd shots are really good. He has nails it. He gets the emotions right, which one are placed in the big view, who are good at expression and how to create that crowd.
sir, actually. And I can't get away every time, but when it is necessary, I have to take it and do it. Yeah.
How much importance do you think a story has in a film?
Sir, I feel I don't think so anybody would come to theater to watch a story. I mean, I think it's majorly drama and emotion. Story will be there. I mean, like, అంటే ఇందులో కథ లేదు అని అనే వాళ్ళకి ఏం చెప్పలేం కానీ మామూలుగా see there's a story of we both meeting and sitting here and talking also is a story. So if
See,
Which we are watching right now.
What I
And you are watching me watching that story.
mean by that is, I feel a film is like a person. When you meet a person, for some reason, you take a liking. Maybe it might take a few minutes or a few hours or a few meetings, and you form an impression. So for me, in Animal, the moment this guy comes back with the machine gun, with that AK-47, I decided to love the film. After that, I didn't care whatever happens in the rest of the film. So that was my moment of liking the person.
Okay.
You know. Similarly, I never connected to the story of animal. For example, his love for his father is the last thing which affected me.
Okay.
You know, I was constantly looking for the highs, and I believe that is what which works in cinema. Story, different people will have different takes on it, directly going by their sensibility and their experiences in life. You know, like a person, you might be liked by someone, maybe not by someone. How many different people, depending on your relationship, they'll all have different views of you, and a film exactly happens in that way.
Sir, very rightly put, sir, actually. What you said is so true. But
Yeah.
nobody could put it into words, as you said. Stories are like people, you know. You
Yeah.
meet a person, that's a story. That's so true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like in Shiva, the first opening sequence when these guys come in a car and this and that happened, and then a cut to that step freeze momentum
Yeah.
with the music. I think the way the people reacted to just the end of the scene in the theater, I believe that they decided to like the film from that shot. After that, it is okay. Some scenes okay, some scenes good, some scenes better. But they made a fundamental impression on the film. So
I would say for Bahubali 2, right? Like, I didn't watch Bahubali 1 in theaters. And Bahubali 2, when I saw, right, the starting animated sequence we get of the first Bahubali sequences, right? The big moments. That I was just blown away. Like, I'd never seen something like that. I've never experienced some visuals like this on the big screen, that for Indian film. And I was right in the film that point. I was sold already, and the whole film was bonus in a sense. So I
believe
agree what he
story
says.
doesn't have any importance for the reason when we see a film, we don't really wait for the film to over to make a judgment on it.
Yeah.
We make judgment as the film is progressing, and we might lose interest even before the story is told to us. The full story is told to us.
I again would agree. There are films where technically it's not strong, the writing is weak, and it's just not working. Things are not coming together, and you have made your minds lost interest. Even if it gets better, you cannot let that go. I think it does happen. You're constantly, and it's not something it's in your control. It's mentally is happening already. Brain is working. You cannot stop.
Which is the reason I think the story is of least value.
Yeah.
And its overemphasis, like William Friedkin, the director of Exorcist and French Connection, he said majority of the films fail because of the emphasis on the story.
Yeah.
If you're creating
Interesting.
highs constantly, like it can provoke you, it can make you laugh, it can make you cry, it can make you feel some kind of adrenaline rush. So the number of times an audience will feel that emotion will be in direct proportion to the success. Emphasis on the story will do the exact reverse of it. He said that I believe that.
Yeah, so true.
Okay.
So like I said,
Like, I need to get more examples of this and to really understand if I would say, yeah, that's something I agree upon. But I'll not say story is not of importance. Like, I'm thinking of kind of film where the story is not just there. I can understand there are films with a story, oh, this will happen and this happens and this happens. Like, yeah, but it was not fun to watch that happen. Like, you didn't spend time on the character. With recent pan Indian films only, you didn't spend time on characters and the shared moment and the drama between them, the emotions. You just gave me a story of, this happens. And I think in a sense, what he says applies to that.
the only time I remember in the last 20 years or so, at least, if not more, I got up and clapped in the theater when that guy got the gun.
Wow.
I felt almost like a mass audience, sitting in the front. It is an idea. It is just a thought. It is. If it was a rifle, it wouldn't have worked. If it was a.
Wait, which scene's talking about?
The last 20 years or so, he will do the exact reverse of it. He said that I believe that.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah. So like I said, the only time I remember in the last 20 years or so, at least, if not more, I got up and clapped in the theater when that guy got the gun.
Wow.
I felt
Ah,
almost
the
like a
animal.
mass
Talking
audience,
about animal.
sitting in the front. It is an idea. it is just a thought. It is, if it was a rifle, it wouldn't have worked. If it was a hockey stick, it wouldn't have worked. You know? Only a machine gun. And I would have never taken a decision like that if in a sequence like that. So you don't know whether to laugh. Everybody laughed. But that is not because of the humor. The excitement of that particular thing, of just the way it entered, even if the scene started with a full figure of him carrying the gun, also it wouldn't have worked. Though the content will remain the same. That is what I'm saying.
This week, that shot, that particular shot of walking with a rifle moving to the face of the audience and going back, the to and fro moment, ideally worked than a solo person walking in a corridor.
Yeah, correct. That's what I'm saying.
The impact would have been gone. I mean, that cut to that shot will actually work. Yeah, sir. Yeah.
So I don't know if you'll take this as a compliment or whatever. On my repeated viewings of Animal, all the times I fast forwarded the father's scenes. So I don't know what to make of that, because like I said, we pick our favorite things at the end of the day, and you might have done it for the emotion of the father and son story. I do not believe it worked because of that, at least for me. I can't speak for everyone. No, you might have done it for the father-son emotion, but I don't believe that is the reason it worked. At least not for me, because I can't take everyone in general. Yeah.
I think it worked for the machismo of the character. It worked for the kind of character he is, more than the father love, as you said.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so that could be just a kind of which created that heist. A story is like a.
It's like the love for in unconditional love for his father kind of created the monster, but the love for his father is not really as strong, like how what we got from the film. Like it felt like we needed more scenes, but I think the thing is we want answers, right? Like why he became like this. Give us answers. Oh, this happened in the childhood. That's why. Like, sometimes there's no answer to things. And someone really said well that the film is called Animal. That's what he is in the film. He's not hero. He's not great person. Follow him. He's an animal, and he just acts like an animal throughout the film. Like it's a becoming of an animal through how things what happens we see.
Heist, but not by itself.
Much with the music. That was some of the most craziest, chaotic interviews I've ever seen between two crazy and out of the world directors. And I think I wouldn't have expected anything less from that because it was something else altogether. Yeah, it still feels like a fever dream. And the point is when the two actors talk like and can go any direction. There is no formula script. It's not a professional interviewer who has this limited time and he wants to get the best out of the other person. So it's valuable to everyone. They're just sitting. We got a chance. We got a platform. Let's sit and talk whatever I want to with you and just having fun, and the crowd is screaming every time for anything. So I think the overall everything just came together. It was crazy. It was literally crazy, one of the craziest things I have checked out, and it was fun. Hopefully you're getting to watch this. If not, it would be available for members early and just for them if some copyright issues happen with this. But yeah, very interesting discussion and talk from two very different minds, who would, I would say, don't follow the traditional route of how people think and how the society thinks everyone should be, and what the industry thinks. Like, see, whatever, I know a lot of people would have thoughts on these people and what they think about them personally. Like, I don't really care what they are in person. I like, of course, they are law-abiding citizens. But what I care about them is what the kind of films they are making and the choices they are making. And you may like the films, not like this film, but the interesting, like Animal, you can hate on it, but I am someone who wants to study it. Like, why it works, why it makes you so angry. It makes you it makes you feel something. It makes you disgusted at moments. It makes you scared. It makes you shocked. And but it constantly makes you feel something. Like what does Sandeep Reddy Vanga does with his screenplay, with his characters, and that's very, very interesting as a someone who likes to know filmmaking and have interest in that. So, I don't really care about the person. Yes, politics of the person. When I was talking about the film, I did mention my review also. If that's there, something objectionable, I would mention it. But it cannot be everything that the film is. The film is more, there's more things to the film than that. It's a choice. What people, you can make your own choice. I'm not gonna tell you and preach you what should be the right thing and not right thing. No one is here to do that. You have to make your own decisions, and mine is to understand the craft of it and not like label people and segregate them. Isn't that what we have been doing in our history as humans? So anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments below about this craziness of a video and interview. Until you can check out this video next, and I will see you next time.